Okay guys, Mackie with the Circle, and last night got a comment on the video I put up. It just said, what are some of the different brands of miniatures that are out there that aren't Games Workshop that you could use in Games Workshop games, or that I like, that kind of thing. Well, today I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different companies who have a range of different miniatures available. To start with, we have Perry Brothers, who are former Games Workshop designers, and you can see some of their work in progress shots on their website. So just give it a moment to load up. It is Australian internet. So these are some of their sculpts in progress they're working on that I have on screen. They do have plastic ranges, metal ranges, that kind of thing. Plastic box sets, so they offer all the same sort of stuff that like Games Workshop does. Multiple part miniatures on sprues, it's available. Yep, Civil War crews of Gatling guns, there's British soldiers, native Zulus, whatever. There's a whole range of different miniatures out there available through Perry Brothers. For those who don't know, an absolute ton of the Lord of the Rings and, well, not the Hobbit, but the Lord of the Rings miniatures that Games Workshop sells were sculpted by the Perry Brothers. All the original ring wraiths, the original fellowships, most of the miniatures for the first 3 game systems. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Interesting fact, one of the Perry Brothers only has one hand. The other one got blown off by a cannon during a reenactment. So yeah, still sculpts perfectly well though. We also have another ex-Games Workshop employee, Victoria Miniatures. So what does Victoria offer? Well, she offers a fantastic range of conversion accessories. So, maybe you want characters like the Spanish Inquisition here. Maybe you want to make all different kinds of Imperial Guard. Well, remember all those different Imperial Guard armies that used to exist, like the Teleran, the old school Cadians? Look at the Beastman boys here. You have these Death Korps Krieg lookalikes. There's a Penal Legion, Savlar Chem Dogs. There's also Mordian Iron Guard down here, Valhallans, Australians. Yeah, whole bunch of different miniatures available. And the great thing about Victoria is a lot of the miniatures available on her website you can get as the individual parts, so legs or torsos or weapons. So again, great little upgrade option here. You might go for Victoria's Secret legs and Games Workshop torsos or something. It gives you options. She also does conversion parts for other vehicles, and obviously makes her own artillery. This one's pretty cool actually. This is one of the newer miniatures, this big sledgehammer. And it's pretty much a basilisk platform. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. A whole bunch of different specialist weapons, heavy weapons, again aimed primarily at the Imperial Guard. She also has a female guard range for those who don't feel there's enough representation in the hobby. She does make some female miniatures. So if that's your thing, maybe go see Victoria Miniatures. Another miniature provider, we have Grimskull Miniatures. And a lot of these miniatures here, I believe, are actually through Wargames exclusive. So they have like a range of different Sisters of Battle, Tau, that kind of thing. Some of this stuff's really cool. If I go to mechanic stuff, they have an upgrade head for the Castellan robot that's so much better than the Castellan robot. I'm not a big fan of models that like this sort of weird tit fetish thing that's going on, but some people really love that. Me personally, if I was doing like a pin-up model, like a large miniature, like 54mm, yeah, maybe could give you different painting possibilities, but yeah, it's not really my thing. But yeah, there's some cool miniatures available here. They got Eldar stuff, they got Tau stuff. I've sort of looked at them before with Kat on our show. So let's look at some of the Tau stuff. So like a Tau defense turret, little weapon sponsons to actually sit on piranhas and devilfish. You know, options, variety, things Games Workshop doesn't do. This almost looks like the what's that dude called from Halo, the original Halo, the Monitor or whatever. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. each their own. That's pretty cool. They make a Tau car, and I really like the Tau jet bikes. So they're basically just a big gun with an engine. So basic and so simple, but I think it's cool. And yeah, a bunch of different Tau rifles and different Tau commanders, and I do like the whole idea of a samurai cast in the Tau. I've sort of said before, it'd be great to see a Tau close combat unit that was actually good, that were sort of like katana armed, and yeah, I don't know. Silly me, right? Alright, let's move on. How about Anvil Industries? So, Power Armoured Exolords. This is their range of guys that are pretty much Marines. So, when it loads up, because again, Australian internet, they have a whole bunch of different torsos, different arms, all that kind of stuff, different heads available. Basically, you can kit out however you like to be a different Marine faction. Very cool for legions. So, for example, this Beaky here with a bit of wings going on, he might make an Honor Guard, for example. The Spartan Crest could be used on your regular power armor to make some Spartan Marines. Maybe you want Pumpkin Head of Marines. I don't know. Weirder things have happened. And Top Knots. Top Knots are great for Sons of Horus players, White Scar players. Get a bunch of Top Knots. Add them to your Mark IV armor. It'll look great. There's also a whole bunch of different infantry. So, trench fighters. So this is all like World War One themed stuff. So you got sort of British Brodie helmets, sort of great coated legs, that kind of thing. Maybe you want to do some French Grenadiers. They've also got zombies. So you have like, you know, the whole Nazi zombie thing going on. If that's, again, your thing. Get it nice and big on the screen for you. There you go. So this is more like your riot police or modern military Nazi zombies. And yeah, it's cool. It's a cool way of differentiating units. You could just use bits and pieces and upgrade kits that you want. A lot of these companies are great because they allow you to buy just legs, or just torsos, or just arms, or just weapons. Whereas companies like Games Workshop, they want you to buy a box. And you get what's in the box, and if you want anything that's not in the box, you got to buy that whole box. You know, you're not allowed just bits. So yeah, yeah, I really like what they put out. So obviously, some people got that straight away. I really like Anvil's work. Who else do I like? Well, I do like Cyborg. He has a very unique look, though. I think the thing I love most is actually the busts with Cyborg. I'm always looking at them going, oh, I just want to buy that bust and just paint that. But again, for 28mm, there are a whole range of 28mm miniatures. Take your pick. What do you want? Do you want sort of these almost like Custodes army? Or perhaps you want something more like Space Dwarves? It's true, he makes a Space Dwarf range. So there's your squats pretty much. Maybe someone to go with our squat miner. What a world we live in. But yeah, Cyborg does some pretty neat stuff. I do believe they also do models that kind of look like Sanguinius. I'll have to double check that. We'll try other miniatures in 28mm. A few different ones to pick from. Orc 2D2. Or sorry, R2D2. Here's R2D2. And as you can see, it's an orc inside. Possibly a trash can. It's a 44-gallon drum, and it's painted up as R2D2. It's inventive. I really like that. It's a good laugh. Here's that sanguineous type fellow that I was talking about earlier. And yeah, probably make a good counts as sanguineous until he gets a model. Although I'm willing to bet he'll be the next Primarch. I don't think they're going to lead with the Khan or the Lion. So yeah, if you want to make a sanguineous, you could start here. Just saying. Yeah, Cromlech also does other things like bases and that kind of thing. If you're into it, they are very over-the-top bases. And Cyborg's pricing is a bit more on the nose than other brands. So, you know, you take the good with the bad. But, you know, at times, the miniatures are very worth it. Alright, another one I love. Cromlech. Cromlech make my favourite orcs. My favourite sort of sci-fi orcs. Here you can see sort of some Nazi orcs, but they make all sorts of things. So, if we go into their products, and we go into their Cromlech miniatures, we can actually have a bit of a look around. As you can see, they have quite a bit of a selection to pick from. This is nothing. The amount of bits they sell is just ludicrous. So, yeah, cool stuff. They, like a lot of other miniature manufacturers, offer a range of torsos, legs, weapons, arms, heads, all that kind of stuff to pick from. Another great supplier. So, pretty cool to see. They do offer like these different versions of like tarantula gardens. There's these bizarre marine... They look more like snow speeders or skidoos or whatever you call them. Snowmobiles. They just remind me of that. There are rapier type weapons as well. All pretty cool. Captain Orc America. Let's look at this guy. Let's just look at him up close. Yeah, he's a fun chap. Marine jet bikes. Again, another thing is not everyone's into the same type of jet bike. Well, you know, they make a pretty good jet bike. Prices aren't bad either. They make a lot of different orc stuff. They love their orc stuff here. And that is perfectly fine. What else? What about Blood and Skull Industries? So these guys do a range of upgrades for vehicles. So there's track upgrades, there are hull upgrades, and of course weapons and sponsons. So this one here, Capricorn Conversion Kit, would be for a Chimera, to upgrade a Chimera with this sort of autocannon type turret. Not bad. The Taurus Conversion Kit is a way of making 40k plastic Predator kits into 30k Predators, for example. They have dozer blades, of course, sponson weapons, and they do a lot of turrets with things like Bane blades. So really big, heavy-duty turrets, big guns. So like this twin Gatling conversion here. They're pretty cool stuff. They also make a range of upgrades. So like big generators and fuel tank pods, that kind of thing that you can put on the back of your super heavy tanks, because customizing super heavy tanks is a pretty fun and rewarding thing. So that's one of the things they do. They also do have a wiring kit if you want to have LED lights, and they do these sort of heresy style tank tracks, which is sort of the thing you see most purchased by people, is different track styles. And yeah, all in all, really cool stuff that these guys do. Demon Steam Cannon, they do make a pretty much full conversion set if you buy all the parts to make like a Nurgle Plague version of a Baneblade, which is pretty cool. Tank Dynamo here, for example, is one of those things that you'd use to replace the fuel tanks on a Baneblade. So instead of having fuel tanks, it has like these weird generator things. It's just cool. And lastly today, Dust Tactics. For those who don't know the game Dust takes place in like this alternate World War II reality, and they got all things like, you know, dune crawler things and walkers and It's like, what if World War II had mechs, basically? um, this is just a small selection of different kits that I've looked at today. I will try and show some of the dust miniatures off. We'll go Axis, because I think German tanks are pretty cool and they do some cool German Walker things. So there you go. Here's basically a flak Walker. It's taking like the idea of World War II tanks and tank weapons and just mounting them onto mech bodies. It's a cool idea. It's a cool concept. Not something a lot of people have done much with either. In the case of like big heavy duty tanks, like here for example, you have essentially an armoured personnel carrier with a small howitzer on top. What do? They remove the tracks and they give it these awesome walking legs. And these miniatures are plastic. So, not resin, not metal. These are plastic miniatures. Games Workshop's not the only ones who could do it. Things like the Onega Dune Strider, or Dune Crawl, whatever that thing's called. Yeah, that came way after this. These miniatures have been around for like 5-10 years now. So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. Anyway, the whole point of today's video was there are other miniature makers out there. They have a range of different miniatures to suit your needs. I'm not saying you have to go out and buy a whole army of Victoria miniatures stuff, but maybe you've got 100 Cadians sitting around on your hobby desk. Maybe you want to give them all gas masks. Maybe you want to give them all female heads. You can have a female force. Maybe you want to give them all Penal Legion heads, so you can make a Savoir Chemdogs force. The options are there. The parts are there. You know, you can go ahead and just buy the bits you need. You don't have to go Games Workshop. And I think, if anything, I've demonstrated today, there's plenty of other companies that make miniatures that look as good as Games Workshop. Like, you can't tell me that this squad of zombies, for example, from Anvil Industries, you can't tell me that these look worse than Games Workshop zombies. Probably doesn't help that Games Workshop zombies are 20 years old, but hey, these are much smaller companies, and they sell their miniatures at a reasonable price, considering that many of them are often resin, but you also have the choice of parts that you make. You know, you don't need to buy their full range of miniatures. You could buy just helmets or just torsos, that kind of thing. The one sad trend I have noticed, though, is that many of these games companies over the years have started slowly creeping up their prices. And why? Because Games Workshop's price is so high. And people who run these companies are like, well, if Games Workshop can charge that much, maybe I can creep my prices up too. And people still buy it. They buy Games Workshop, don't they? So, Games Workshop being the market leader sort of is starting to set the price for other brands, even though other brands are, in the past, much cheaper. Anyway, that's enough from me. Thanks all for watching. I'll see you all next time.